What's up, good people? Welcome into Montgomery Company. I'm Renee Montgomery. So, Ja Morant, we all know the situation. We've been talking about it, so I'm going to give my thoughts. But overall, I really hope we put our arms around him as a community. And right now, I'm talking right now, it is March Madness, an experience like no other. So me and the crew, we're going to go through the moments that happened during March Madness in my career, my freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year at UConn. We're going to talk about the moments within the big moment because that's really what shapes those kind of experiences. Players are going to have feelings that they've never felt before. They're going to have the excitement right now that's nothing like it. It's called March Madness for a reason. Let the madness begin, baby. Let's go! Remember when Netflix was a DVD service? Well, now Netflix had its first live comedy show, Selective Outrage by Chris Rock. I'm sure that you've heard that it dropped because there was a lot of discussion online about it. But I want to talk a little bit about the money because Chris Rock made a pretty penny off of signing a 2 special deal for $20 million a piece for Netflix. This was the second one. His first one came out in 2018. But yeah, Selective Outrage was streamed live when he performed it, which is a new concept that we might start seeing for concerts, comedians, different things, any acts. Now that Netflix has saw that you can basically stream it live and we can all watch it together like live TV, I feel like that's going to happen more. So Chris Rock has set the tone in that aspect. And speaking of setting the tone, shouts to Kennesaw State for making their first ever NCAA tournament appearance. My baby went there. Serena is an alum of that school, so I had to shout them out. And we're going to just keep on with the first because Monique Billings was the first WNBA player to partner with Athleta. I don't know which one it says, so I want to make sure I say it right, but Monique Billings was the first WNBA player to partner with them. Sports influences everything. We know that already. Shouts to Atlanta influences everything. And then speaking of first, EA Sports and the NWSL reached an agreement on bringing the Women's League to a video game for the first time ever. NWSL is coming to EA Sports FIFA on March 15th. Now that's crazy because FIFA, I think of Chad Ochocinco and all the different people that love to play FIFA, so that's going to be huge for the NWSL. And then keeping on with the women's sports and doing big things, shouts to Nas and AG for playing great at Athletes Unlimited. I'm talking MVP type numbers. We love to see it. And also in WNBA news, WNBA Las Vegas Aces star Kelsey Plum got married, okay? Congratulations are in order. She married the Raiders tight end Darren Waller. Folks were stunned. I like how she did it. Like me and Serena, we got married during a pandemic, announced it a couple years later. So, man, actually a year later, but man, I'm just telling you, there's a lot going on. Oh, and also the Oscars are coming up and Rihanna will be performing. Jimmy Kimmel is hosting live from LA. Woo, a lot. What else? Creed 3. Oh yeah, we got to shout out Creed 3 because we talked about the premiere that we went to. But Creed 3 becomes the first sports film in history to surpass $100 million in its opening weekend globally. We tried to tell y'all that Creed 3 was going to do numbers. You could just see Michael B. Jordan put the time in, put the work in, and the movie's just excellent. Sports really does influence everything, and that's what brings me to Ja Morant. First of all, I love Ja Morant, and I'm not even saying that just so I can go in on him at a later time. I'm basically saying I love Ja Morant, his energy, his spirit. I love his interactions with his daughter. I love how he puts women in his commercials, and he's big friends with Asia Wilson, and I just love everything about how he supports women's sports, how he plays as a player. I think he plays and does things that we haven't really seen before at the pace that he's done it, in a sense of he's a showstopper. He's a superstar. He is all of those things. So that's why this situation with Ja Morant just makes me sad. And so if you don't know what's happened, there's been alleged events that's happened with Ja Morant leading up to this event. But this particular event, basically, Ja Morant showed a weapon online on his own Instagram Live. He's since made a statement that says, I take full responsibility for my actions last night. I'm sorry to my family, teammates, coaches, fans, partners, the city of Memphis, and the entire Grizzlies organization for letting you down. I'm going to take some time away to get help and work on learning better methods of dealing with my stress and my overall well-being. So when I read that message, that reads to me exactly what the situation is. A young man that has a lot of money and also a lot of stress that goes with his job and different things of that nature. Newsflash to people that may not know, it is very stressful being an athlete. Now, no, it's not life or death situations that other stressful jobs may have. So I do understand that there's jobs that your life or death could depend on how well you perform or not making mistakes or not. But when you talk about sports, when there's stress added, imagine if you go to your job and you have a bad day at work. Like we've all went to the office and had a bad day, right? But then imagine when you leave the office and you're going back home and you want to forget about everything that happened at work, and then you go online to see everyone talking about how bad of a day you had at work. That's basically an athlete's plight. And yeah, I know they're playing a game and they're making a lot of money, but athletes have trauma that they've came from in their previous life before they made this money. They have situations that they may have not gotten over. So when I heard Ja Morant's statement, first thing I thought is, I hope he does get the help he needs. And then I went on to read, different people's comments, and the sports world really showed up for Ja Morant. A lot of people had a lot of things to say. Des Bryant, former Cowboys player, said, if you know and love Ja Morant, put your arms around him and tell him the truth. Ja, you got a special ability, and don't let people around you basically bring you down. And then another player that came and spoke about him was Jalen Rose, and he's an NBA legend. He said, I am Ja Morant. I've been involved in drug raids. I've survived assassination attempts. I've been the undisciplined young person that was trying to figure out how to be famous, how to be successful. He's going to return, and he's going to be a better person. That's my whole thoughts right there, in a sense of there is going to be a return for Ja Morant. And I hope that we can let him get past it. Yes, I understand that this is a pattern going on. This is not an isolated incident, but I hope that all of these incidents lets him realize that you got a whole group of people depending on you, your daughter depending on you, you're a son, you're a father, you're a superstar, you're a role model. And this is a thing that gets into it with a lot of athletes, because we've heard athletes say, I'm nobody's role model. But unfortunately, that's why they say heavy is the head that wears the crown, because we all are role models, whether we want to or not. Now, Paul Pierce had some different things to say, in a sense of, he said, I don't care what y'all say about Ja. I carried a gun after I was stabbed. Y'all don't know what he's going through. Everyone has something to say until you really know what's going on in someone's life. When you black and rich, you're a target, period. So there's so many different thoughts on the Ja Morant situation, the feelings that people have. The thing that makes me think about, I don't know if people know, but there's a player that plays for Alabama, and his name is Brandon Miller. He's extremely talented. They think he's going to be a lottery pick in the NBA draft, and he was recently attached to an incident involving a gun where a woman lost her life. Now, he was cleared of any wrongdoing by the system, but there's a part of a lot of people that feel like something just doesn't feel right now moving forward. He's been not included in the finalist list for the Player of the Year awards, even though his stats say that he should be included in that list. And so that brings me back to my thoughts for Ja Morant, because unfortunately for Brandon Miller, that incident caused someone to lose their life. But with Ja Morant's situation, no one has lost their life yet. No, nothing has happened. I'm not even saying yet, because I pray nothing ever happens. But we're at a point where Ja Morant should be able to turn the corner, get the help he needs, and get back on the right track of being a superstar that has a shoe that just released. That is a great shoe. The city is behind him. The league is behind him. He's one of the faces of the league. But somebody around Ja Morant has to put their arms around him and make sure that he understands who he is. You are no longer the Ja Morant that you knew before. You are Ja Morant that we are all talking about. And so, I just hope that he can get a clean slate. I just hope that for all these athletes, we talk about sports influences everything, and it really does. What happens in athletics, what happens in sports is world news. It goes all over the world. And so as athletes, we have to start understanding that.
Did anybody see the Chris Rock special?
Hey, I loved it.
I haven't watched it yet. So you saw half of it, Juju. What you thought about it?
I don't think it deserved the criticism that it's getting from some people. It's like people saying that they watched the whole thing and didn't smile once. I wouldn't take it that far, because I was chuckling. Right, I was like, I laughed at some uncomfortable moments. It was some uncomfortable stuff.
I have to be honest. I laughed at some of that stuff. I laughed.
Right, that's what it is. It was made folks uncomfortable, but it was funny as hell. Like,
okay, so Chris Rock was Chris Rock, and he made the uncomfortable jokes, but he was. I mean, I guess comedy is
with
subjective.
Comedians, you have to kind of read between the lines, like when he said that he hadn't been. Don't be looking at him because he hadn't been in any entanglements. So, I think it was in a way saying, please look at poor Will. He was going through a lot,
This is why you don't not watch something and go on the internet, because I've done seen everything there is to see about this special that I haven't seen. So I could give y'all the rundown on what everybody's views is, because a lot of people think that Chris Rock's special was not funny at all. He took a lot of time to say the obvious things that we all knew he was going to say. He called Will out of his name. He did a lot of he brought up the entanglement, which everybody said that was going to be like, Snook, you brought it up, but you like it, Snook, you're easy target. So people basically said that was an easy comedy show to do. The people that didn't like it and didn't laugh at all. And then the people that did like it said that, what did you expect the man to do? He got slapped on national television. Of course he's going to come back and call the man out of his name. And he filmed it in Baltimore and Jada City. And so, so there was two sides of the coin.
Can I ask a question?
What's up, Cole?
Because I obviously have not watched. I have seen some people talking about it online, but the man has been touring since probably almost the day after he got slapped. I mean, he might not have very much new to go by for this. I mean, I'm just saying, we expected.
It's his life, it's his feelings. I mean, that's what comedians do, right, Nick? That's what they do. I mean, they talk about their life. And he's probably still feeling it. I'm sure.
I just gotta say that by now, and all the money that has lined and patted his pocket, he should be over any humiliation, any self-degradation that he had when them checks started hitting his pocket. I'm pretty sure instead of him, being mad about the situation, he was like, "Hey," and as a comedian, he would probably also appreciate me saying, "Hey, it's a good thing I got slapped because I only made $10 million last year. I made $10 million in 2 weeks."
Chris Rock was doing comedy shows. To Cole's point, those comedy shows were sold out. I'm sure he was working on the material that now was on his Netflix special that aired live called Selective Outrage. That was the second special on a 2-special deal that he did with Netflix, $20 million apiece. The first $20 million one came out in 2018, and then this second one came out, as we know right now, Selective Outrage. So that was a 2-part deal. So he just finished up his deal with Netflix, but a lot of people, that's what, to Cole's point, she was saying he's making money on his way there, but a lot of people said, dang, like that's what you came up with. Like, basically you had a whole year to come up with the material. And I'm not on either side of the coin because I don't really care.
But what was it going to be called if he didn't get slapped?
No, they're saying like, man, we thought you could have came up with some funny material.
No,
basically.
What I'm saying is this is a 2-part deal with Netflix. The first one's in 2018. What was going to be the content for this one? It's called Selective Outrage.
Well, I'm just saying, yes, like this gave him material, and that's the point. People thought, like Juju said, some people said they didn't smile the whole time, and they thought, dang, you had a lot of material to work with to get some funny content with.
Did anyone else here know he had a first part to this in 2018?
Well, he had 2 specials. It's called 2 specials. Like, you signed a deal. I'm going to do 2. So you just come up, like that's like saying, Kevin Hart, what are you going to go on tour about next year if you don't have any material? You just make it up. I don't know. You talk about your dad. You talk about your life, your upbringing.
What I'm saying is that did anyone on here ever see the first part?
I think we did. Yeah, when it came out in 2018, yeah.
I'm thinking, like, I would love to see what the reviews were for the 2018 one and what the reviews are for the this new one. I mean, I'm pretty sure
the numbers probably were there, to your point. And this was the first ever live streamed comedy show for Netflix. Netflix is usually like, they don't do things live. They're not usually live television, but this is the first time that they streamed a live comedy show, which, as you can assume, is probably going to be more of this live streaming concerts in a world where people are living in their home, basically, or people are not necessarily going to events like they used to. It's coming back. I could see this kind of being a lane for Netflix, kind of trying to get into a different lane.
Is anybody talking about the
Well, they
other?
said he
Weren't there
hadn't
other
said
acts?
anything
Wasn't
since
Kevin
the
Hart there?
slap,
Weren't there
so
other acts in
just
this
wanted to
one,
say
or was that
something.
something else that I saw?
Kareem
So,
Abdul-Jabbar
he said
cutting the rug on stage.
Just say
What? So why isn't anybody talking about?
That's what I'm saying. There's so much. We gotta watch it as a show. We gotta do a review.
So Chris Rock's 2018 special, Rotten Tomatoes gave it an overall rating of 100% based on 23 reviews with an average rate of 7.5 out of 10.
But what did you just say?
I don't know because it was based on 23 reviews.
That's probably the only 23 people that watched it.
But did you say it got 100% though?
Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes is a group that rates movies.
Right,
you know,
right.
like
But I'm just saying they gave them 100%.
Yeah, they gave them 100%. All right, so speaking of like just making the news, being in the news, I wanted to ask you guys what you thought or who you thought was the most Googled Black women in 2022 because the list just came out and I found it very interesting because I didn't.
Rachel Dolezal.
She did not make the list, Juju. So who do you think the number one most Googled
Rachel
Black-
Dolezal is the woman, the president of the NAACP
That we
chapter
found out
in
was,
Seattle. Yeah, that she is
Caucasian.
actually not black.
Caucasian queen.
not black.
More,
Not black.
Maury
I
style,
know.
you are not. Okay, so here we go. The most Googled Black woman of 2022. Any guesses from the crew? Who y'all think was the most Googled Black woman of 2022?
Kamala
I
Harris.
just feel Michelle
Boom.
Obama.
That would have been my first guess.
Michelle Obama is not the first, the most Googled Black woman.
Angela Bassett.
Oh, the woman king.
Ooh, Viola, yes.
Viola Davis, my woman king.
What about Octavia
All right, so the
Spencer?
most.
That's a
I
good
like
one.
that y'all thought that, but the most Googled Black woman of 2022, Zendaya. Number
Ooh,
one,
I love
Zendaya.
Zendaya. That
Come
makes
on
sense.
now. Y'all know this woman was on Spider-Man. She's dating the Spider-Man in real life. This is like, come on now. You can't top that. All
And
right,
she about to be making $1 million off an episode for Euphoria.
Yes, she just renegotiated her contract for Euphoria. You guys, the viral show. She is going to
she's
be
huge.
making $1 million per episode. I heard that the Friends cast was making $1 million per episode at a certain point. So
Mhm.
They were.
she making money, honey. She not even just Googled. She's shutting down red carpets and making money.
She made the best decision of her career in the world a couple years ago because they have cast her to play Aaliyah in that weak, whack docuseries about Aaliyah that the family didn't like. And she pulled out of it and then start doing her own thing. And now look at her, Spider-Man and everything.
I can see why they would cast her as that because she could dance, and she would have been a great fit for that. But I do think that was a smart decision on her side.
Number two, who do y'all think came in at number two, the most Googled?
Beyonce.
Michelle Obama.
Beyonce. I'm thinking she's still on there. Top 5.
Doja Cat.
Hey, that's a good one.
I
What
love
about
that he
Kamala
thought he
Harris?
had it. The second most
Janelle
Googled
Monáe.
woman. Oh, the second most Googled woman, Serena Williams. Come on now.
Oh
She-
wow, okay.
Coming off of her
Damn, you're
retirement.
right.
Y'all know that was a big year for her.
Mhm.
She's in commercials. Number three, I know y'all ain't gonna get number three now. I'm ready for y'all to be shocked. Let me just
Michelle
tell you.
Obama.
Solange.
Oh, Solange knows. Okay, no, but I like that. That's creative.
I have
Cole,
no
any
idea.
thoughts?
I have no idea.
Number three, Meghan Markle.
Oh wow.
Oh, salute to Meghan Markle.
I was gonna say, what's that reaction?
Now don't
We
be
love you.
hating now.
All right, so moving
Sorry,
on
Snook.
to
Sorry,
number.
Snook.
Okay, don't be
It was some
hating.
haterade. It was some
now.
haterade in my blood. Sorry, Snook. You
You
right.
just got it out. You got it out. All right, so
I had to
moving
get
on
that.
to
Okay, 'cause
Man.
number four. Who do we think is number four on the list? Now y'all should understand that Google ain't what y'all think Google's gonna be.
I know.
I'm scared.
Michelle
I don't know.
Obama.
Oh, AOC.
That's a good one too.
Number four,
Black
most
China.
Goo-
I don't know.
Oh, Black
Oh no! Please tell me not. Please tell me we are not interested in what she's doing
This
right
ain't
now.
OnlyFans because y'all know that Black China is making a bag over there at OnlyFans though. So shouts to Black China getting to the
Black
money.
China or Cardi.
What about Cardi B?
Yeah, y'all both
Yeah.
said it.
The
Oh, I know
number
Rihanna. She had a baby. Rihanna.
That's a good one.
I love that folks be thinking they got it. The number 4 most Googled black woman, Beyonce.
Ooh,
Shouts
yeah,
to the
she was on the list.
Beehive,
You're right, Cole.
baby.
I told you she was going to be in the top 5.
Yes.
And
Nice.
bringing in the 5th of the top 5 most Googled black women. Come on now.
Michelle Obama.
Michelle I was waiting because Snook said it every time.
Every single one. She said Michelle
Michelle.
Obama. Michelle Obama.
All right, so I just wanted to get y'all up to date on. It's crazy to see like who we might think is going to be in the news all the time might just be our news, because I would have thought Cardi B would have been up there. And moving on to, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this, because not just your thoughts on this, but your thoughts on what would you do? What's your scariest moment? All right, so there was an article that was released. A couple files $5 million lawsuit against a snorkeling company. Now, here's why. Let me just set the table. You're snorkeling on your Hawaiian vacation and the tour company leaves you behind. That's what happened to a couple during their 2021 honeymoon in Hawaii. They were going for a snorkeling lesson excursion and the boat just straight up leaves them in the ocean by themselves as they're trying to figure. So that's a fear that I didn't even know I had until I read that that's what happened to these folks. So it just, first of all, what are they doing by leaving people there? $5 million is a lot. They deserve that money. But do you guys have any unreasonable fears? Like fears that aren't just normal? What's your thoughts?
A fear for me is not asking the right questions and ending up in this situation, regardless of where it is. We could be in the middle of the water. We could be on a mountain with bears in the cave next door. We could be in a desert with no signal. My fear is not asking the proper questions, because the article clearly said, oh, we're going to be out here for an hour, but they gave no definite time. Who goes down underwater away from the boat for a full hour? I would be so paranoid. So paranoid. You got 5 good minutes. I'm going down. I'm coming back up. I'm going down. I'm coming back up.
First of all, Serena, when we went on our excursions at our honeymoon, you didn't have a clue what was happening at no time.
But look,
and point.
I literally told Renee, I said, no, we're not doing none of these activities because there's too many horror stories out here. We're not going to be one of these people that went on our honeymoon and got caught or stuck anywhere. Nope, we're just playing it safe and staying on land the whole time.
Where did y'all go for your honeymoon?
We went to
St.
St.
Lucia.
Lucia. We went to the St. Jade Mountain, but we did do boat excursions. This is what I'm trying to say.
We did one, and
it was, and he asked us, do we want to jump off the boat? Snook, can you hear me? She tried to say no.
She told me no, I can't hear you.
We went on a boat excursion. It was a private boat because I don't know if y'all seen White Lotus, but I don't want nobody else on our boat with us because a person could be going through something on White Lotus. The lady was burying her parents and throwing the ashes off of there, and we trying to have a honeymoon dinner, and she over there having a funeral. So I watched White Lotus. And
she was like, move this table, y'all. Move this table.
Yeah, she was third wheeling. That was hilarious.
So I learned my lessons from White Lotus. We was on an excursion by ourselves, and this man gonna ask us, do we want to jump off the boat into the water?
No, I said no so quick. I said no, we're good. Thank you.
So it's a no for us, dog. I'm gonna tell you that
no.
right now. I'm feeling good on the boat. We even had the nerve to try to go down into the under part of the boat. It was nice under there, but we got sick as a dog real quick when we got down there. I said, take our food back up to the top. Can't do it. So that brings me to my real fear. It's called trypophobia. Do y'all know what trypophobia is?
Bumps. Fear of bumps.
Oh, wow. Snook.
So I have a fear of things that have too many bumps on it, or like little bitty things that have like those little lumps. I don't know if y'all know do y'all know what I'm talking about?
This is true. I can attest.
Like an areola?
On the areola, but if it's like the whole, let's think of like a
like
creature.
I remember Doja Cat on the red carpet.
Doja Cat on
outfit.
the red carpet. Do y'all
Renee
remember?
couldn't even look at that outfit
Because to this point of fears I didn't know was a fear. Those type of things. If somebody has that, like those little legion bumps all over everything, I can't handle it. But I
have a
digress.
friend, I have a friend, and my girls have never understood her phobia. She
Oh, no,
throws up when
yes.
she sees safety pins.
Yes, Aunt
Yes.
Barbara.
Oh, wow.
Aunt Barbara.
Aunt Barbara, if you show a
That's-
safety pin to her,
that's
she will
crazy.
She
instantly
throws up.
throw up.
She will throw up.
just
She has a fear, a terrible
Wow.
fear.
I wonder
of
what that
seeing
fear
it.
is called.
Real.
Fear of needles or pins? I wonder what that is.
I haven't encountered something that literally takes me out. It actually makes it kind of crazy because Mom said her fear is heights, but she used to ride roller coasters with me all the time.
yeah.
So
So,
it's like-
look, your fear used to be heights, but you ride roller coasters.
I stopped riding them many years ago, and they never were really good for me. I remember the last one.
She
Nikki
probably
can
did it
tell
as
you
a
about-
daredevil thing. Did you do it like to get over your fear? Kind of like how Renee did
I don't know, just
skydiving?
because my girls wanted me to go on there. And as Nikki can tell you, when I got off the roller coaster, the operator asked me, did he need to call an ambulance? I was sick, very, very sick, and had to immediately go to the bathroom.
I'm good.
Immediately go to the bathroom.
I'm good on roller coasters. I used to ride them, but it's kind of like Snook. I only rode them because I was riding the wave of being with everybody, but I hated every moment of it. I hated myself on the way going up because I knew that I had to get down, and then I knew that once I got up there at the top, and they was gonna sit me up there to let me think about my out. Yes, they let me think about my decisions. They sit you there at the top of the roller coaster for that split 2 seconds before they drop that thing on you. And
I like it too.
That's where I lose my whole mind. It's like, why am I here? I don't want this drop part. I can't scream. I can't breathe. I can't take it. Why am I here?
Well, listen, we went to Cedar Point. There's a roller coaster there called the Speedster, I believe. And once you drop, your face is like frozen. When you get off, by the time you stop.
Nah, and have you guys seen all these horror videos of the people like roller coasters going off the rails and all that stuff?
It's
Especially
old.
at these fairs.
They're old. That's what I'm trying to say. If you go to a fair, I mean, it's the writings is on the wall. I know that, like, it's like those things look old. They sound old when they're zooming past you. I would enjoy the food at the fair because I'm just saying, like, I don't even do them no more.
No, I just think the fairs are different. I don't think you should get on anything that crazy to people who put it up in one day and it's supposed to carry 2 tons worth of people and go 75 miles an hour. So I'm not saying necessarily fairs you should do, but I like roller coasters. Like I said, I haven't encountered anything that's literally just gripped me that I've been like, I can't go on, and Lord, please don't let me encounter it now that I've said it. But I do have a fear of being just making simple mistakes, like going to, like, I would be so upset with myself if I went into the woods and we pack up a camp next to a house full of bears, and it's like, well, why didn't I know that there were bears out here? Like, that's the type of stuff
Cole,
that is
you're
a
scared
fear
of
for me.
You're scared of nature. That's because the
I'm
real fear is
scared
the
of
bears.
No. I'm scared of animals' houses. That's their house. I don't want to be in their house. I'm scared of putting myself in a situation where I'm in their house. That to me is my fear.
All right, so listen. If y'all got any other fears, what were you gonna say?
I'm
Serena?
kind of the same with Cole. Like sharks, I don't know why sharks have always been like just anything with sharks. I can't even imagine that I'm in a pool and when people play shark, like I'll be like, no, stop playing. I can't. No, but like I guess ever since the social media age and Zoom age, pandemic age, people have been caught on Zooms and like when they don't know they're being recorded or have gone live and things like that.
That's
Without them knowing that they've gone live, and they're using the bathroom or they're naked or they're doing, if you're not meant to go live, you're probably doing something that you don't want anybody to see, so that's probably a fear. It's
well,
like,
you got a valid fear because I sit in this room a lot and I'm literally live on TV a lot from right here, so you could be yelling something from the room that you really don't want the whole world, like, you got that's a realistic fear because
we're married, so we share everything with each other. So sometimes that just got to stay between us. And if I accidentally go live, that will be mortifying for me if I don't want it to go live.
The real wild card is Junior. That's the wild card. Watch out for Junior.
I be having to
in the
tell
back
that
of the video.
Listen, I be having to tell that boy that once it hits the internet, it is not leaving the internet ever. It don't matter how fast you delete it. Nothing.
I was saying, to Mom's point, I've had that situation, and to Sam's point, I've had that situation where Vance got a phone and it has FaceTime on it. And so
boy.
he comes into my room to ask me a question about whether he could play on the video game with his cousin AJ. And he's on FaceTime, and I am literally down to my skimmies when I say, and I turn around and he's under me. So, that is probably a shot that most kids should not see.
Lord of
So
mercy.
when he was holding the phone, he was just holding the phone, and luckily it wasn't pointed towards me. So he's like, "Ma, can I play the game?" And I said, "Wait a minute. I said, give me a second. Let me get dressed." And then I hear a noise coming from the phone that sounds like background noise. And I said, "Is somebody on the phone?"
Oh,
he's like,
my
"Yeah,
gosh.
AJ's." I said, "Get out."
That's a fact. That's a fact. And on that note, to close all of that up, don't be calling me on FaceTime without scheduling an appointment. Folks just be popping up on FaceTime with me, and I'm like, no, sir, that is too intimate. I could be on the like, there ain't no telling.
My biggest fear is being locked in the trunk, bro. I've been around too many hood guys, and my life
So
is
Juju's
better
fear is
now.
getting kidnapped.
Do not lock me in the trunk or bury me alive. I would rather
Oh, okay.
die.
That's a real fear, though. I can't even
Just
imagine.
kill me, bro.
So you think that the trunk? Okay, so that's a very valid. I don't want to be locked in the trunk either. I don't want to be buried alive either. It's just not one of my fears though, because I feel like it's so unrealistic. But for you, you were like, listen, I would rather any other way of death than those ways. Wow.
It's so scary.
Wow.
I've been there before. It's not fun.
So things we didn't know that we're afraid of that now we know we're afraid of. Moving on, Snookabuka. So I asked Snookabuka over the weekend to put her thinking cap on because Snook knows my life way better than I know my life. So Snookabuka, I asked her, I went to UConn, as everyone knows. I graduated high school 05, graduated UConn 09. So from that, okay,
Hey.
she wore her UConn gear.
Hey.
I like that. So from 05 to 09, I've created so many March memories, so many that I can't even probably remember them, but it's always better because I'm usually in the moment. So if we got a game coming up, that's literally all I'm thinking about. I ain't thinking about all the other things that go on or all the other moments. So I told Snook if she could she think of a couple of moments from my freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year to relive so that we could talk about it here on the pod. So Snookabuka, we're going to start with the freshman year. What are some of the big moments that you remember from my freshman year at UConn?
Okay, well, I think you only maybe lost. Oh, let me not do that. My mind might not be right, but you made it to the Elite Eight in your freshman year, and it was in Bridgeport, Connecticut. One of the memories I have is when you played Duke that game. We were at that game. We were almost at all of her end of tournament games except one. But anyway, we were in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and Renee was playing, and Allison Bales was one of the Duke players, and she used to play with us a little bit with the Tornadoes, our AAU team, and she's 6'5". And so, this is the sectionals we're trying to get to the tournament. Well, it's actually the Elite Eight. And so Renee gets a steal, goes down. And so Allison is under the basket. And so Renee does a reverse layup. And Gino immediately calls a timeout. And so the announcer on the TV said, "Ladies and gentlemen, that's 5'6" versus 6'5".
So that's what you remember from that moment?
I like that.
That is hilarious because do you know what I remember?
So funny.
Do you know what I remember from
What?
that game?
Well, do you
Didn't we
remember that
lose
he
that
called
game?
the timeout to tell you that you weren't Dwayne Wade?
Yes. So
Oh, Lord.
Coach Ariema is a
Well,
hilarious
she was a
man.
freshman.
Yes,
Oh, my
Coach Ariema
God.
is a hilarious man. So we're battling it out with Duke. Didn't Duke win that game? Didn't they beat us?
Yeah, they did by 2 points. Remember, there was a decision that the
Yes.
people with
Everything.
the striped shirts had to make, and it wasn't the one that we
Yes.
really wanted.
So, I'm telling you, you can't make this stuff up. We've seen now that sports is greater than reality. You can't make this stuff up. So, my freshman year, we lose on a buzzer beater, right? Or a buzzer beater that didn't count. We're playing Duke basketball, which, as y'all know, it's like UConn versus Duke is a Power 5 versus Power 5 schools and that nature. It was a big game. being honest, it was in Connecticut, so we had a big crowd, we had big stuff going on, and I just remember like, how in the world on my freshman year did we start out and be the worst team for UConn, losing in the Elite Eight? I thought that UConn was supposed to just make it to the Final Four, like everybody was always saying. I'm thinking like, how in the world did we become that team that lost in the Elite Eight? So this is why I'm having Snook tell me her memories, and I'm gonna tell y'all my memories because her sound is so beautiful. Number 5'6" going against 6'5" with the reverse layup like D Wade. It was in yeah. So that's my freshman year. What other thoughts come from your mind for what's your second thought for freshman year? I asked you to have a couple of them.
Well, that freshman year it was a learning experience for us. One of the things about the freshman year is the first time you get to go to the first year thing they do for warm-ups for the season. What's it called, Renee?
First weekend, opening weekend or opening night,
weekend, and the parents can go watch the warm-ups and how they do their practices. It was grueling. I was so afraid for Renee after going
okay
through that
this
year.
Is good. Let me get into this. So all right, so first weekend is basically where the parents can come all weekend. They watch our practices. Then we have our opening practice that you invite fans. Like UConn's opening night was sold out. This most recent opening weekend, I actually was one of the hosts for it. So it was crazy. It was sold out in there. The band was in there. It's a whole event. It's just like a game, except for it's your first day's practice. So Snook and them come to our first practice, and basically she got to see what that action looked like. And what was your thought, Snook?
I said, Lord have mercy, Lord help him. That's all I could think. Because it was grueling. I mean, really, it wasn't anything, but you really had to be a good athlete and be in tip-top shape to be able to go out there and survive in that. I mean, really. I mean, it was time stuff. I mean, it wasn't any playing around. It was like serious business, serious.
So listen, Coach Ariema has even alluded to this recently about how he basically made the statement, and Coach is so good at motivating because he said the players aren't the same as they used to, and we don't coach the same as we used to. Now, I think the players, they're still great players in college basketball. I know he was just trying to get his team hyped up, but I don't think that UConn can probably coach the way that they used to coach. Our practices, when I tell you, times have changed. And so things that was acceptable then, and I'm not saying that we had any like cruel and unusual punishment. I'm just saying like it was a no nonsense, no excuse type of thing. If they say you need to cross the line in 10 seconds, it don't matter if you're a point guard or a center, you better cross the line in 10 seconds or we're going to redo it.
People dove for that line. That clock was ticking. They dove like a door into a pool.
Yeah. Like nowadays, you might not be able to run people until they literally make it because there might be players that fall out. There might be players that throw up. There might be players that cry and say that they can't. If you throw up, I've seen players do that all the time. That ain't nothing but a thing. You better get back on the line and be ready to run the next one.
Track practice at for AAU track or travel track, whatever you want to say. Basically, our coach would say, you could throw up, but don't throw up on my track. Once you throw up, get back on there and keep running. Did he not? Did he not say, I don't care what you do. Striders, yes. Striders.
Yeah, so
the trick is to throw up on yourself. The trick is to get some on your shirt. Oh, coach, I gotta go change.
Oh no! There was no changing. There was no changing. There was a hose. They had a hose there. Hose you off. It was hot outside. First of all, it's August. It's hot. Hose yourself off. You'll dry out as you run.
Ooh, wow. Yeah. So it's that type. It's them type of vibes brutal, where there's basically no out. It's like you gonna get this work, right? Like there's no out. So that's kind of what. So Snook, when she was saying, Roy put in the chat, "Thy rod and thy staff, they come for me." Snook started to pray for her baby girl when she started to see what it was about to be like. But let's move on to sophomore.
She's seeing Seal. She's seeing Big Sylvia out there. Hold on, my son down. Hold on.
She saw who I had to go up against because you're right, Juju. We did play LSU one tournament. Snook, what are your thoughts on my sophomore year? What comes to mind that year?
Okay, well, as you said before, people go to UConn with expectations, and when you get there, Gino has expectations. So, you feel that you're going to go all the way. So we always try to prepare ourselves to to be there. And what was it I always told you, Renee, that we were always sitting where?
In the front row, baby.
Anytime she played any
Still,
game,
they
I
still
said,
like that.
we're in the front row.
So what she means by that, by the way, is she means that she gonna be front and center in front of the TV. If she ain't at the game in the front row, she gonna be in front of the TV in the front row. So she would always just tell me that. So what are your thoughts sophomore year?
So you made it to the Elite Eight again in the sophomore year, and I was very disappointed because I felt that we weren't there to kind of push you because it was out in Fresno, California. So we didn't make that trip because the Final Four that year, I believe, was in Cleveland, Ohio. So we knew if you won, you'd be coming back to Cleveland, and that was a short 5-hour drive for us. But
so
anyway.
Let me talk to y'all about disappointment. So my whole family, California is too far to go, obviously. So my family, like Snook talks about, they go to all of my games, like, excuse me, that are within reasonable where they can drive or get a trip. This so happened to be in California. So they couldn't make it to this game, but they were planning on making it to the Final Four because we were supposed to make it to the Final Four. So everybody was setting up for plans and trips to go to Cleveland, Ohio. They were like, it's perfect. It's so close to home. We're from West Virginia. And so all I got to do is get there. And all I got to do is get to the Final Four, and it's going to be turned up. Because, I got family in Ohio. We got family in West Virginia. Cole and them are coming from Maryland. It ain't nothing but a thing. Here's what we go and do, losing the Elite Eight in Fresno, and not only disappoint ourselves and our season and our fans, but now our family didn't even make the trip because they was all planning and taking weekends off and planning on taking time off from work to go to Cleveland. So I want to tell y'all how athletes really be feeling after the loss. It ain't even just the loss where we gave our blood, sweat, and tears and we wanted to win. It ain't just the fans that was behind us, the coaching staff. Then it's the other personal things where it's like, dang, people took off of work for us.
Well, we wouldn't have known if he was okay anyway, because I don't think we even heard from you for a solid week.
I was going to say, how do you deal with that? Like, I want to know.
So Juju, with the foreshadowing, my second year, my sophomore year, when I talk about LSU was some, like, dogs over there. They had Sylvia Fowles. I think Simone Augustus. I don't know if she was still there. Simone. They had some shooters. That's what I have to tell people. When I say we won one time when I was in college, I'm so proud of that one because that Duke team we lost to had some dogs on that team. We lost to LSU the next year where obviously we know now there's a statue of Simone going up at LSU. That's how to tell you how good she is. They putting up a whole statue of the woman on campus. And I feel like part of my tears is in that statue because that's when they knocked us out my sophomore year. But to answer your question, babe, the way that I handle that type of trauma when we lose after giving it everything is I don't want to talk to nobody. Like Cole said, I didn't talk to nobody for like a week. I'm good. I'll be okay. I just don't want to talk about that moment until I'm okay. So yeah.
And what are you doing within that week when you don't talk to anybody? You
I'm
just
watching
like
all of the play.
She's in deep seclusion.
I'm watching. I go rewatch the game and watch all the mistakes that I made and how I could have done better. Then I talk bad about myself to myself for a very long time. Then I'll probably go work out and then start the cycle of I can't let myself be that bad again next year. It's really, it's probably not healthy, but it's probably also the most healthiest way that athletes get better because you take your loss and you just bottle it up and eat it and swallow it and drink it. And then you just come back out motivated. Yeah. So that's kind of the cycle. What else? What you saying, Cole?
We literally were watching on TV. I'm the type of person where I got to the moment where it was too close and I can't take it. I was on the floor, my head on the ground. I'm like, Lord, please. And then Shay's like, you got to watch it. And then when it was over, game over, and they lost, I called Mom. I said, well, we won't. I guess we'll talk to her next week. Mom was like, yeah, I guess so. We just kind of do. Just leave it alone.
That's that on that. Snooka Booker, what else you got for sophomore year? Anything else for sophomore year? We moving to junior?
No, I was just going to say about how you deal with losses. You usually go into seclusion for a while, and everyone knows, do not knock on the door. No, she doesn't want any food. No, she doesn't want a hug or a kiss. No, she doesn't want anyone to tell you did great.
She don't want to hear that either. Don't say that.
Definitely don't tell me I did great.
Don't tell me I did great. I hate that too.
That's one of my things. Oh, I did so great that we're home right now for the Elite Eight. Like, what you want me? You did great. Like, what? I'm a loser. That's my thing. It's like, no, I can't. I'm a not a great loser. So there's that. I mean, like, I'm not bad to other people, but I'm really bad to myself when I don't do well. And so that's kind of why I'm a workaholic now, because I don't like to disappoint people, and I don't like to not do well, and I don't like that feeling. So I just try to overwork so that I don't ever have to be in that mode. So yeah.
There's no I in loser. So you win together and we all lose together. Got your back.
All right, listen, I feel like we got to start rapping, but should we to be continued on junior and senior year, get to the good times later? Because right now we're stuck in the Elite Eight, let the bad times roll. And maybe I need to just fester in this and think on this, because March Madness is all month. And so maybe next week we'll come back with my junior and senior year where there is some light at the end of the tunnel, people. And so for the UConn fans that feel like these 5 games that we've lost this season on the women's side, I know this is a tough year for us, because I feel like in my whole career, I don't know how many games I've lost my whole career, but I think at CBS we just talked about
I think it was 11. I think they said 11.
So I lost 11 games in 4 years. So I know that for UConn fans, losing 5 games in one season feels like a lot. But we just have to realize that there's a certain standard that we have for UConn that in this world of parity, that may not be the normal standard anymore. And so I'm reliving the trauma. Oh,
Roy just wrote, fester for a week. Go fester.
I'm going to go fester for a week and think
the
about
last
this.
2 years are...
Okay, but there's light at the end of the tunnel for the last 2 years. But man, Duke, I still haven't forgiven y'all. Monique Curry and all of y'all. LSU, Simone, we supposed to be dogs. Put was on the show, a friend of the show, Sylvia Fowles, man.
Yes.
There's only one person that can win, so that's the thing about March Madness.
But then you guys came back years later and won a championship together. Spoiler alert,
By our powers combined. Me, Sylvia Fowles, Simone Augustus, Maya Moore was my teammate at UConn. All of us have competed together against each other in March Madness. That's the beauty of it all, because who we're watching right now compete against each other, we're seeing the UConn players. Tennessee and South Carolina went at it for the SEC title. We're seeing all of these players go at it, but these players are probably going to eventually be teammates at some point down the line, which is the dope part of it all. So, boy, the madness continues. Shouts to all the Cinderellas.
Together.
Get your brackets together.
Oh, we should do one amongst us.
Yes.
Let's do it. We're going to do a MoCo bracket challenge to see who wins against the crew.
Who won last year? I think Dennis Snook won
last year.
Yes.
So Snook got some
I think
improvement to
Paul
do.
won, didn't he?
We need some push-ups then, Snook. I mean, for this season. 20.
I'm not losing this year.
I ain't lose this year.
So look, it's already starting to happen. The competitive juices are flowing. I love it here, man. We're going to see y'all next week and talk about the junior and senior year. Some light at the end of the tunnel. Now, having heard all of those memories, I'm feeling a little nostalgia, but overall, I talk about it. That 2%, that's what UConn gave me. That 2% of extra work, that 2%, because only 2% of athletes go pro, as we know. And so UConn gave me that 2%. And I just think about all those various moments, but the overall feeling that I feel when I think about UConn is the friends that I made there, the family that we are now. And so, I'm so excited for players to be able to be going through that right now, because when I think about all the memories, the blood, sweat, and tears, because there was a lot of tears. I'm going to tell you that right now. We won my senior year, but a lot of tears, but I'm glad to have ended it with a smile. You already know it's a generational thing here at MoCo.